All right, Clare, Yellowjackets hitting the road this week. 2 more conference matches, your final 2 regular season matches of the season. Just kind of give me your thoughts on the team's mindset, the attitude this week, being excited for 2 big GNAC games.
Yeah, I think everyone's feeling like they're really kind of honing in on these last 2 games. That's kind of the beauty and like the bittersweetness of getting towards the end of the season is you're not looking at something that's so expansive, so you get to focus on a little bit more. It is also kind of crunch time coming up to the playoffs. Still with the hopes that we get into playoffs. So I think everyone's just kind of working on focusing on like executing and the critical moments like we've been talking about through the season in these last 2 games.
Yeah, this is right where you want to be at the end of the season when you kind of start the year. One of the goals is to make the conference tournament, make the playoffs. You guys are right there, have a fighting chance to get in there the final weekend. You guys got to be pretty proud of, having something to play for this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I know this has been a big goal for the program for a long time and for us as a team this year too. I know Stephen really believes in us as a young team that has a lot of talent. And what's been really cool about that is a lot of times with young teams, it's kind of like, okay, next year, we're going to develop and we'll be able to do that. But it's really exciting to know we have a young team, but we have the potential right now to be getting into the playoffs.
And to get to this point where you still have a chance, it took 2 big wins at home last week. Talk about the team's performance there, just a couple of really gritty 2-1 victories that you really had to have.
Yeah. We talked about it a little bit, but the team as a whole came in last week and worked the entire time leading up to those games. We had a practice on Monday that wasn't mandatory. The entire team showed up for it. I think it really shows how many people want this, even as we're coming into the last 2 games, and to come out with 2 wins in that, with huge performances from people like Haley Gunter, Haley Gertsch, Tuva coming up really well in that game on Saturday. I think it's huge. I think it shows that no matter where you are in the team, on the bench, people want it.
Yeah, you mentioned Haley Gunter, GNAC Player of the Week, well-deserved. Scored 3 of your 4 goals, scored both of the game winners, and when you needed a senior captain, she delivered. Talk about her performance and just really what she's meant to this team as a senior captain.
Yeah, I think everyone has seen it. From the moment you meet Haley and you see her on the field, you know that she's someone that works. And she's been so reliable in that the entire time I've known her, and I know it must have been hard starting off the season with an injury. I can't imagine anybody wants to start their senior season like that, but the way she's come back from that and the way she's stepped up to be a leader on the team, but also on the field, scoring those goals for us has been huge.
With 2 matches on the road next week, and so please keep that mindset on that next match. We will have a banquet tonight, which almost feels like an end of season banquet, but it's not, because our season is very much alive, because you all came out here and won 2 games this week, 2 games in a row, and let's make it 3 on Thursday.
Coach, when you start a season, one of the goals is you always hope to have a chance to make the playoffs at the end of the year. 1 more week in the regular season, you're right there in the conversation. You got to be proud of this team up to this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It's second straight season, 2019. We go into that final week on the outside looking in, but hoping that we can use the experience from that last season to propel us forward this week. We know that NNU on Thursday is going to be a really, really difficult game. They're just coming off of a big win against Western. We're going to need everyone to really show up and perform almost at their best to get a result there. I know our team is capable of that. We feel like we've had a lot of games this year where we've performed well for a majority of the game, maybe had some drops in concentration, but we feel like this game on Thursday is one that everyone's got to be dialed in and perform well to get a result.
Might have been some results early in the year that you thought you should have gotten a little more out of, but last week, 2 really hard-fought wins. You have some momentum going into this week. Talk about the performances that the team is coming off, finding a way to win 2 must-win games.
Yeah, there was pressure on us last week, and we knew that. Really proud of Haley Gunter, Allie, and Lexi propelling us forward on the field. Obviously, we had the boost with Rachel, Josie, and Ashley Tiffin starting in the last game, which I know meant a lot to the whole team. With this week coming up, we just are going to rely on those seniors again to help us forward. Last week was big for the team. We were able to put 4 goals in 2 matches. We know that when we go on this road trip, we've got to win and we've got to find ways to score, which has been hard for us on the road. So we feel like the games this week helped us a lot. We got through them. We got 6 points from them, and hoping again for 3 points on Thursday against NNU.
Haley Gunter, GNAC Player of the Week. That sounds pretty good, doesn't
Yeah,
it? I mean,
absolutely.
a 4-year starter for you, a senior captain, is giving everything to the program. And last week she delivered in the form of 3 goals. Talk about that and elevating you guys.
Yeah, 2 game winners from her. She got hurt in the very first game of the season, missed the first travel trip, that game away at SPU, and so she's been working really hard to get back. I know she's been hard on herself about not finding the net. Of course, she was out, and so it takes time to get your touch back, to get back to match fitness, but she's showing that she's playing the full 90s. We've been using her at midfield, center forward. We're not really sure what she'll do this week, but for her to get 2 goals in the last game and with the one on Thursday, we feel like she's really finding her groove at the most important time of the season.
It's a young team overall if you look at it on paper, but it's a mature team. Even some of the younger players who have been in starting roles have that mature mindset. And going into a week like this, that's got to be huge for you. What is the team's mindset? How do you think they'll respond to the challenge of this week's games?
I think the home games this past week, and I mean, there was pressure. We knew if we didn't win either of those games that we were pretty much done. And so I think they were able to really use that pressure in a positive way. This road trip coming up is one, again, where everyone is going to need to really be dialed in. But you mentioned we are young on paper, but I have never really felt like that was an excuse for us this year. And so I'm happy for them for that. But this last road trip is 2 games. Just give it your best. Control what you can control. We can't fall in love with just looking at the other results and hoping that what is meant to be is meant to be. We want to put ourselves in the best position possible to make the playoffs, which is showing up and having a great game on Thursday against NU. I think, Grace, you're going to take us home.
Yeah! Why is